Hey, what's up guys? It's me David, back with another video, and today I'm going to talk about the new Surface. And unlike all the previous episodes of Tech Talk, this episode of Tech Talk will have only one topic, the new Surface Pro. And like I said, it's not the Surface Pro 4, or Surface Pro 5 actually, it's the Surface Pro, no number attached. Now, the models that they're going to offer goes from anywhere from $800 Core M3 model to a $2,600 Core i7 model. Yeah, that's a pretty wide range. I'm personally pretty disappointed in Microsoft for making a Core M3 $800. I can make a PC part picker desktop build for $600 with a Core i5 in it, and Core i5 with 8 gigs of RAM is $1,300. Microsoft, please don't walk down the road of Apple. I know you said that Apple was the best, partner you could find for your mobile, but please Microsoft, don't start overpricing stuff like Apple does. I really like the new Surface Pros from the design standpoint and everything, and how they updated it. That's a relief, I thought they weren't gonna release a Surface Pro 5 at all this year. Like I said in my previous Tech Talk episode. But the fact that they released it is good, but charging $800 for a Core M3 is really bad. For all of you guys going like, what is a Core M3 or Core i5 or Core i7? What's RAM? What's storage, Well, maybe not storage, but... Okay, so a Core M3 is basically what you use in a super ultra portable that is not... and it's not supposed to be expensive. Okay, so let me search up on Intel's pricing for the Core M3s are. Okay, right now I'm on Intel's website for the Core M3s, and they don't really sell them to consumers, so the price isn't up here. But it's meant for 2-in-1s, thin, light, and stylish stuff, and laptops. And while that's kind of true, for $800 you shouldn't be getting a Core M3, And that's why I said that Microsoft was kind of starting to walk on the road of Apple, because Apple's charging $1,300 for a Core M3 MacBook. So unless you really need an ultra light, device, don't get the base model Surface Pro, and the MacBooks, the base model MacBooks. Okay, so if you go one tier up and go to $1,000, of course, for students, this is $100 cheaper, which is a nice touch, Microsoft. You get 128 gigabytes of storage, Core i5, which is a much upgrade, and a 4 gigs of RAM. I think this is the sweet spot, to be serious, but if you need more performance, I would go, and storage, I would go with the next tier, the third tier, right about in between all of them. It's a Core i5 with 256 gigs of storage and 8 gigs of RAM. I consider 8 gigs of RAM to be minimum for me, because I do video editing and stuff. A lot of RAM is needed. 8 gigs is minimal. Okay, so if you go another tier up, you're finally entering that realm of Core i7 with a $1,600 price tag. And now the model before I told you about, the 256 Core i5, 8 gigs of RAM, is basically MacBook Pro beginning entry kind of specs and price. Now this is the $1,600 model, 256 i7, 8 gigs of RAM. This is pretty darn awesome performance, just from the specs, and since all the Windows latest versions have been made to be optimal for Surface devices, you're going to get blazing fast performance with this. Although I haven't tested it out myself. 512, the next tier up is $2,200 for 512 gigs, Core i7, and 16 gigs of RAM. And often, a lot of companies will display things like not just RAM, but it'll say storage and memory. You shouldn't get confused with this. Storage is what you can put your files in, while memory is things that you can't put anything in there yourself. And if you do, that's kind of dumb, because if you turn your computer off, all the stuff in your RAM is going to be deleted. That's why if you turn off your computer and restart it, sometimes it goes, it gets faster. That's the reason why. Then the 1 terabyte, so the max tier, 2700, 1 terabyte, Core i7, 16 gigs of RAM. Guys, there's always a sweet spot when you're buying tech. You shouldn't buy things like the maxed out MacBook Pros, but you shouldn't also be buying Chromebooks unless you really need a Chromebook. Now, same thing here. When you're buying a $2,700 Surface Pro, that gets me scratching my head, I would say if you're gonna buy this product, getting the second tier 120GB Core i5 with 4 gigs of RAM will be best for most people. If you're a really light user, then get the base model. But you can't do much more than browsing the web and all that kind of stuff. Now, the one thing that really I don't like about Microsoft and their Surface Pro lineup is that they don't offer the keyboard, which is necessary to use it as a laptop, in the product. So you're gonna have to pay another couple $100. So you have to consider that price as well. And until the Surface Pro 4, Microsoft included the Surface Pen, but in this model, they do not include the Surface Pen in the product, which is so dumb. Okay? If you're looking for the best, product, then if you want the best value, I think going for the Surface Pro 4 is a much better option. Microsoft, I really like your Surface products, but the problem is, you're just overcharging us at this point of time. I think you should include the keyboard at least, maybe not the pen, but the keyboard is necessary to use as a laptop. Okay, so because I'm talking about the Surface Pro, the new one, and I said that the Surface Pro 4 is now a lot more cheap, and it's a better value, I'll be telling you the specs of the Surface Pro 4 now. Okay, so the Surface Pro 4, mind you, isn't the latest generation of Intel processors. It's the 6th generation, which is still pretty darn nice. The bottom tier, no pen, 128GB Core M3 at $700. Well, I'm not sure if that version's worth it. The second tier for $850. That's $50 off. You're getting same specs except for 6th gen. So I would say that's worth it because of the pen included in the box. If the pen wasn't included, I wouldn't say that's worth it. Again, so this one, the 256GB Core i5 6th generation, mind you, 8 gigs of RAM, used to be $1,200, now is $1,000. That's excellent price. For that price, on this new Surface Pro, you're getting a i5 with 4 gigs of RAM and a 128 gig. Of course, there's the 7th gen and 6th gen difference, but I would say buy this model. This is the ultimate, thing. You have to still buy the keyboard, but it's just the best value. Okay? Now, you can get us, 256, 16 gigs of RAM, which is awesome. They didn't include that option in the new one for $1,400. I'm not going to explain the specs on the higher tier ones, because I think if you look in the Surface Pro website, just go to the 3rd tier from the top to the bottom, and that's going to be the 256 Intel Core i5, 8 gigs of RAM. That's the best value. You don't need another one, to be serious. Yeah. So, guys, if you enjoyed this episode of Tech Talk, leave a like in the video. If you love this episode of Tech Talk, click the subscribe button, and be sure to check out all my other episodes of Tech Talk. So, thank you guys for watching. See you in the next video.